Welcome back, everybody. It is again Michael and Casey. We are so happy to be back for a second week. Today's subject will be growing up now and then, how we were raised and how kids are raised now, and probably touch on how our parents were raised. But before we do that, we want to acknowledge, excuse me, the passing of Malcolm. Um, he was a real pioneer when it came to podcasts, trying to help men in general. And if you do a little research, you'll be able to go and look up the things that he did for the community. And I have one more thing that I'm going to do that my wife is going to be really angry at me about, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. So on last week's discussion, I was saying all the people that supported me and loved me and whatever, and I didn't say her name. So um, my wife is a huge support, and I love her, and she's going to be mad that I did this because she told me not to do it. So she was mad at me. Oh, here she comes. So I just wanted to say that, and we'll go ahead and move on. Mr. Jones, do you have anything to say about last week's episode before we get started?
Last week's episode was great. I think it'll probably be one that we can circle back around to. There was a lot that we uncovered. I received several messages about last week's show, and it helped a lot of people. It's something that we need to go back into at some point, but it was very beneficial, and I'm glad to see some people even thinking about going to get the help that they need that weren't thinking about it before. Just trying to kind of feel their way through it and push their way through it. But I think it was encouraging, and they will find the help that they need by going to get the proper help, along with praying for a breakthrough.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we are grateful for that, and that's kind of why we're here. We're here not only to try and hope and encourage others, but to encourage ourselves. There are things that Casey and I
Right,
learned. We talked after this.
right.
We talked about the things that we actually gone through and the things that we thought about. It's like, oh, cuz that came up, that brought this up, that we thought about that. And so it's not only for all of you guys out there, it's for Casey and I too. So again, we've discussed before. This is an opportunity that we don't take lightly. And besides, Casey and I get to spend some time really talking to each other with everyone, and we really do appreciate you guys joining us with it. So, ready to get started on this week's Mr. Jones?
Let's go.
Okay, so before we get started, this is going to sound because I'm 52, Casey's almost 50. Are you 50?
Be 51 next month, August.
Okay, dang, we old. So this is we don't mean for this to sound like a bashing session on those who are younger than us and those that we brought up, children and cousins and so on and so forth. But if truth be told, my parents and Casey's parents and our grandparents had it. They were raised differently than us. So when we say, our nephews and younger brothers and younger sisters and so on and so forth, it's like, man, they're different than we are because we were raised like so and so and so and so. It was my parents will say the same thing about us. It's like you guys had it good. You have no idea because it wasn't too long ago. We only a couple of generations from being in fields and being treated. Not that that has ended in any way, shape, or form, but things have gotten a lot better. So it's not a bashing session, but we're going to say and talk about things that we've seen and the things that we've experienced with raising our children. What you think, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, like you said, it's not a bashing session. It's actually an acknowledgement of the changing of times. That's the way I want to look at it. We had it way different than our parents did. Our kids have it way different than we had it. And these grandkids that are coming along, oh my goodness, I'm actually very afraid for them. But it is what it is. Before we go too far into it, I do want to tap into what you said about, you said Malcolm. we know him as Theo, our brother. Theo is around our same age. We came up watching the Cosby Show, which I feel like it was probably the leading series for family unity. I don't think before the Cosby Show that we had the opportunity to see our culture be embraced in that manner. We had a lot of shows that we were into, but until the Cosby Show came around, myself, I thought those shows were good, but then after I saw the Cosby Show, I'm like, Sanford and Son was kind of dysfunctional. Cosby Show made us look at it differently. Good Times, the Jeffersons. You think about Different Strokes. We didn't have, even with those shows. I ain't taking away from those shows because I used to love them. I still watch some of them today. I wish we had the Cosby Show. Somebody got to make that happen. I don't know who. I don't know what channel, what network, what company. Somebody got to make that happen. That show needs to come back. Bill, regardless of what he's charged with, convicted of, it was too many. It was just too many things that families can draw from that show. Brother Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner, he gave us Gordon Gartrell. I don't think anybody ever knew anything about those who haven't seen the show. You have to watch the show. Theo was one of the first people that I guess gave the example of wanting to leave home and his parents knowing he wasn't ready. And I remember when Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable, gave him some fake money and was walking him through rent, bills, insurance, food, and Theo was telling him, I got it all figured out. He's like, well, you're going to need a car. He was like, I'll ride a bike. Took some of the money back. But all the experiences that we shared watching that show, there was so many things that, we wanted our families to be that way. Professional doctor as a father, an attorney as a mother, grandparents that came around that loved on the kids, neighbors, friends, just a loving, warm family. And he had a major role because Theo was the only son. Theo was the only boy. And the way he handled all of that friction with the women was marvelous. I mean, I know the actors and the producers played a role, but the way he sold it, so our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to his family, the friend that I believe the last report was in critical condition that was in the on the vacation with him. So definitely our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to Malcolm Jamal Warner's family and the podcast that he had. It was great. My wife sent me a few of them, and I enjoyed just watching and tuning in and seeing what they had to say. And he's going to be missed. He wasn't in the public eye as much, but he played a vital role for our generation. So rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of the Cosby Show, that went into the different world where we had us in college and showing that that's right, having normal college interactions and things like that. And it's kind of sad that we're like, remember the Cosby Show in a different world, and it's like, well, I mean, there are other shows that came after that showed us in a positive light, but it's a wonderful thing, but it's also a thing where, I mean, it wasn't that many without us being the butler or being loud or being this or being that, So that those shows, it was such a positive impact, and it was so real, so realistic and real to life. It was such a positive influence that there's something that we'll never forget. Again, like you said, Bill Cosby and all that other stuff. What we were looking at was inspiring, and so it is something that
very much so.
That's right. And so that's one of those things I wanted to talk about that since you talked about the Cosby Show. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the Casey and the Michael Show, where we were raised and how we were taught and the things of those of that nature. So you want to start off? You want me? Yes, sir.
So this whole generation, oh man,
always exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
To the rule, but for the most part, this generation.
I just remember playing, having community, neighborhood, being outside. Like we hated coming inside. We hated when it rained because you had to come inside. We hated when it had to come home. There were so many things that we were able to accomplish as kids and teenagers that I feel like they're missing out on now. I think a lot of the kids now, that's the reason why they don't know how to interact personally, because they spend so much alone time. And it's good. It's good to know who you are. It's good to spend good quality time by yourself and not have to always be around people. But there's a balance that I think we had, and I'm not seeing that now. When I think about how we came up, I mean, the interaction that we had to have when we called the house. I got to call and speak to your parents before you get on the phone. I got to call a young lady's parents and speak to them. Hello, how you doing, Miss So-and-so? Can I speak to so-and-so? Yeah. Well, who are you? I got to answer those questions before we can get any closer in a friendship.
Yep.
Or any type of, you say girlfriend, boyfriend. The parents would question you over the phone. And even then, the phone was in a central location.
That's right.
It ain't tucked away in your room. The best thing we could hope for back then was a long cord.
That's right.
That's the best thing we could hope for, because the phone is in the kitchen or in the living room, and everybody's there. Those days you had to have a long cord and just kind of slide down the wall and sit there and talk. But now everybody has a cell phone. Kids have cell phone at 10, 11, 12 years old. So they are in relationships before the parent even knows the person's name.
That's right.
They've been talking to him for months and months at a time.
That's right.
So therefore, it's a danger as well. It's not just a difference in how we were raised, but that's why so many kids are able to be abducted by strangers. The parents never even know that they're engaged with, a lot of times, an adult. But like, I wonder in this generation, how many people play board games? You see the little kids at the park with their parents, but being outside, you knew where everybody was because there were a ton of bikes in the yard.
That's right.
Everybody's over there. They're in the backyard. You heard the playing. You heard the laughter. We had kickball. We had football. We had dodgeball, basketball, baseball, racing. I mean, whatever you could name, we were involved in it. And now you don't see it as much. You just don't see it as much. And I think it's going to be a detriment to this next generation because of everything being, I can only imagine the trouble we would have gotten into if we could put our frustrations out instantly.
Yeah, we're in a lot of trouble. Yeah, that's right.
We had to wait on magazines to come out.
Yeah.
We had to wait on things to come out to even be able to, take a part of the things that, for channels we didn't have, games that we couldn't watch live. That stuff had to come out.
That's
and then we had to read about it. So,
patience. We had to have patience.
Patience.
There is very, very, very little patience. It's a TikTok. I'm just going through TikTok. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And it's everywhere. The attention span. And I think the attention span is a detriment, because if you can have a relationship with someone, you got to have patience. You got to have patience, because you got to have patience with myself. I got to have patience with you. And so that's where a lot of the skills, the people skills, the people skills that you get having to deal with someone. You might have some uncomfortable situations, but you had to learn those things. Right now, I don't like you. Boop. I don't want to. No. And so you're not having to learn. So when a lot of this generation gets married and they don't really know each other, it's like, hey, I met you on a app. We went out a few times. Did you read my dossier? You read everything. So this is what I like, and that's what you like. It's like, oh, we have a lot of things in common. A lot of things in common has nothing to do when you're married, and it doesn't. And I know that the marriage rate is I don't know, I guess it's 50. It might be lower or higher, but it keeps getting worse and worse. And so you have a lot of people who are living together, and so you don't have to make that commitment. And that goes with that. The second that you do something that I don't like, or I think that is whatever, yeah, I didn't make that commitment with you, so I don't have to do those things. And so I have to admit that a lot of this just generation, the way that they are, it's our fault.
Absolutely.
It's our generation's fault, because we prop up our kids. You can go to Facebook, you can see, look at what my kid can do, and then the kid hits them, and they're like, and they hit you back, and then you're going back and forth. That's not cute. And so when you make that child believe everybody wants to see them, everybody's special. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anyone's special, but you allow them to do these things, then it'll become learned. I can fuss back and forth with my mama because she's filming me. I did something real bad and she's filming me, so it's cute. Right. And it's like, that's not cute. But it gets in the head because everybody wants their kid to be seen. Everybody wants and so there are no real rules. There's nothing that people are going to stick to, because everybody's looking for or looking to be a friend, or to be cute, or to be whatever it is. But the here I go. I'm getting ready to say it. The discipline is just not there. And again, it is our generation, because we're 50, 51, you'll be soon, and I'm 52, and we have our children, and I wanted a bike. I remember I wanted a bike, and my dad was like, "You can have a bike. You got to go cut yards and stuff to if you want that. This is what you have to do. Or if you want to get something, you're gonna go in the yard and you're gonna do those things." Cause in my neighborhood, I've probably seen one teenager cutting the yard. His dad was out there with him. It was a couple of weeks. His dad was out there showing him how to cut the yard. One. I mean, no life. I'm not saying no life skills, but you can't pay everybody to do everything for you. You have to learn how to do something. And I think there's a certain amount of failure that we've had in not showing them. Don't get me wrong. I know your kids. You did a bang-up job raising your boys. I had all girls and the whole deal, and I know you've done it. You're an outlier, because you just don't see it, because it's like, as long as they're up in the room playing that game, I don't have to deal with it. I don't really have to do anything. And so that's why I say it's
I think that's the big issue. A lot of it seems like failure because parents don't have follow-up.
Yes.
Parents don't have follow-up. Our parents did things differently. They inspected what they expected. So a parent telling you to clean your room when we were growing up, they coming in, they looking at the beds, they looking on the other side of the nightstand, they opening the closet, they pulling the blanket back to make sure the sheet is pulled where it's supposed to be.
Yep.
This day and age, clean your room. I did already. Okay.
And then they go outside. That's right.
You never inspect what you expect, because a lot, not all, but a lot of the parents these days, their minds and attention spans are just as short as their kids.
That is exactly.
Your kid wants to do something, they're coming and they're gonna ask, "Why you on TikTok?"
That's right. That's right.
Why you on Instagram? Because now mommy's not really paying attention to what I'm really doing. And they know it. Kids are not stupid by a long shot.
Nope.
Children learn what they live. They don't learn what you tell them.
That's right.
They learn what they live.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we look at our kids like, where did he get that from? Probably from a reaction that they saw you have.
Yeah.
Probably from and parents these days, and I don't want to knock parents. I don't want to knock kids, because I do believe that each generation had things that they had to deal with that the prior generation didn't. But that works in reverse too. That prior generation had a lot of things they had to deal with that we wouldn't want on us.
Absolutely.
So I think the times and the access, the ease of access that we have now, parenting has not kept up with that.
Mm-hmm.
Parenting hasn't kept up with the times. The times are moving so fast now. You know, there's 3 or 4 cell phones that come out every year.
Yeah.
Next version.
That's right.
Next version of TVs. You know, we had consistency back then. You would have something for years and years and years. To me, this day and age, the way they're growing up now, I look at it as 1980 Buick LeMars versus a 2025 BMW SUV.
Totally
that BMW hit that old LeMars, it's demolished.
That's right.
It's because of the way it's constructed. It's
right.
because of the way it's made. It was made for something different. It was made for efficiency. It was made to be great on gas. It was made for comfort. Those older cars, they were made for. That's it. Wasn't no bells and whistles. You shifting up, you shifting down, you going, you don't have no middle console. It's a whole bench seat in the front. So we dealt with so many different things that, you know, this day and age. Do you remember being in the car seat?
I wasn't in no car seat.
Car seat? A car seat?
My daddy didn't like car seats, and he was a policeman.
Your dad was a policeman, didn't he? A car seat. First of all, it was too many of y'all to have car seats. You put that many car seats. But at the same time, you know, you think about the way these kids travel now, and the parents have them in, and I see kids not in car seats. They living like we were living, but their cars aren't constructed the same.
Yes.
So right. I see kids standing up on their parents' lap in the front seat of a car going 55 miles per hour. Now, I don't recall our parents being that lenient while we were traveling. I don't even remember a whole lot of seat belts, to be quite honest. But we were safe. And we, you know, there were accidents. There had to be accidents. They had to have the data to go ahead and make the changes that they made. But that time frame for us, it seems so carefree. And I'm pretty sure these kids coming up now, they're going to feel the same in a few years. But I think it's going to be, it's going to be so detrimental to their mental aspect, to their emotional aspect. They don't know how to deal with a lot of trial and tribulation, because
that's right.
They can be anybody they want to be behind this. They can be anyone. Like you said, I like you, you like me. I'm looking at this list. We got a lot of the same things in common. In 3 months, we married.
That's why you see a lot of I have anxiety. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't go to work because of this. You know, I don't want to. I had anxiety, but I still had to go and do this. And then you had the medications, and then you had to, it's okay. We got paddling in middle school. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our teachers knew our brothers and sisters. Our teachers knew our parents. So the laws have been changed to where they're putting way more power into a kid. You're not going to spank me. All I got to do is call CPS or call whomever, and then and you have some parents who are like, I don't want to go to jail, so I'm not going to do this. And again, like you said, kids aren't stupid, and so they feel empowered because you can't really do anything to them, and they know when you're in school that you can't really do anything to them. And then you have parents going to the school saying, "What'd you do to my child?" There was
Yeah.
never in
Yeah.
a million years where my parents call my school and say, "What did that teacher do?" That never came out of their mouth. The first thing
Yeah.
was, "What did they do? Let me know. So when I get home, you'll never have to experience that again because I'm going to take care of it."
Right.
How
Right.
often do you think that happens? It probably never happens now. It
No.
never happens because the things have changed now to where kids believe that I have control. And oh man, this is sounding bad. I'm not trying to say that it is what it is. It
It
literally
just
is.
is what it is.
It
It is
is
what
what
it
it
is.
is.
That's
And
the
so
day and age we live in.
that's the day and age that we live in. But with that being the day and age that we live in, I don't think that we have to conform to it because that because we have to be careful. That's true. But there still needs to be rules and regulations in your house because if they think they can just come in and say and do because they're protected by whatever, then you have no control or you're not and so
Right.
there was never a time when I was going fussing back and forth with my daddy or my mama. What? Are you kidding me? Now when I
Yeah.
got in my room I said some stuff under my breath and
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean,
Of course. Of
but
course.
you didn't do that. You didn't suck your teeth, you didn't do this because you knew that was just like throwing something at them. Sucking your teeth is just like throwing a shoe at your mama. It was the same.
Right.
It was just like the same thing. Right now, it was just like the same thing. You wasn't doing either one of them because in their mind, it was just as bad.
Disrespect.
It
It
was
was
disrespect.
disrespect.
It was
It was
disrespect.
disrespect. So we had to fear the outcome in order to have that respect.
Yeah,
Like a lot of times we didn't have to get the beating
yeah. That's
because
right.
we were so afraid
That's
of
right.
getting the beating
That's right.
that nah, I ain't going
That's
down
right.
that road.
That's right.
But the kids coming up today, what are they fearful of? What are they fearful of? You know, I can't remember the older lady's name, but she went down a list of things, and she said the parents are afraid of the kids, the school is afraid of the government. Everybody is fearful of somebody, but the kids ain't afraid of nobody. They're
Okay.
not afraid of anybody. The adults are afraid because of the laws and the restrictions.
Yep.
The schools are afraid because of lawsuits, because of you can't even, you don't want anybody putting their hands on your kids.
Right.
I get that. Little situation happened with me when I was in school, and my dad was you remember my dad?
Yes.
I mean, not to say remember my dad because he's still living. I'm saying
Right.
how he handled situations.
Yes.
And I did something in school and they were still paddling it. And I went to the office and the dean was preparing to paddle me. And I told him that you can't paddle me. You have to call my dad. So because he knew my dad, he decided to call my dad. But what I didn't tell my dad was what I said to the dean. And this is crazy because him and my dad became very good friends. The dean was Caucasian. I told the dean, you can't paddle me. My dad said, a white man can't beat me. So he called my dad. My dad came to the school. I was afraid. But when my dad walked in the office and the dean told my dad what I said, my dad looked at him and said, yeah, he's right. So I puffed up for a minute, like, yeah. So my dad then turned to the black assistant principal and said, but you can, and I will again when he gets home. So I'm like, what? I thought I
You
thought
got
I
that
had
beat.
one
You got the
over him,
beat system.
but I end up getting multiple. I end up getting multiple paddlings, beatings, whatever. But that wasn't something that kept happening because
Yeah.
we learned from that situation.
You
This
learn.
this will never get a child's attention.
Nope.
I'm sorry for those who think that spanking, discipline, anything of that nature is right. I live by the word. I'm sorry. Don't beat. There's a way to discipline. There's a
Right.
way to lovingly discipline your child with, I don't even want to say a rod of correction, but that's what the words say.
Yeah.
The rod of correction.
That's right.
Because they don't pay attention to the little disciplinary actions, and then you
Yep.
get louder, you get more angry. So there's times when kids won't feel the discipline, but then they'll start to feel the anger, or maybe even feel like the parent dislikes them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we have to be mindful in how we're punishing these kids these days, because it's going to have long-term effects. It's
Yep.
either going to have long-term effects on the positive or the negative, but it's
Right.
going to have long-term effects.
Yeah. Either way. Either way. All right. So I'm going to take this way a different direction.
Let's go. Let's go.
So as I've gotten older, I have learned, and I've heard this from many women. I've heard this from many women, that boys are coddled when they're young, and when the girls are raised differently. And so I was like, well, what do you mean? Then I started hearing examples, because girls have been like, the moms are tough on them, the dads, kind of baby them, but the mom babies the son, and the dad raised the son to be a man, and so on and so forth. I've heard a lot of examples where they're women now, who have felt like it was unfair the way that they were raised. You have in the house, it was you and your sister. In my house, it was just it was a lot of people. And so
Right.
I don't think I felt that as much, because there were so many of them, and they were tired by the time they got to me anyway, and so on and so forth. And so,
Right.
but I have heard from many women that they didn't think that they were being treated fairly when they were being raised. You were in the house with you and your sister. What was your view on that, about raising girls and raising boys?
My view on that was, my dad was old school. My mom was pretty much old school. So it was the girls are going to do this type of work. The boys are going to do this type of work. But my mom took it a step further, and she always told me, there's no guarantee you're going to have a woman in your life that you're going to be married. So you're going to know how to cook. You're going to learn how to fold clothes. You're going to learn how to do this, that, and the other. Like, I learned how to sew. I learned how to do a lot of things. But like, I never got to share those things, those outside chores, with anybody, because it was just me.
Yeah.
It was just me. I'm thankful for it now. I hated it then. I'm very grateful for it now. But there was there was some things that, from a female perspective, that my mom was probably harder on my sister than I. And for my dad, like, my dad just let my mom handle my sister, because he was old school. He's like, I'm gonna deal with him, you deal with her. And I'm grateful for the balance, but I learned a lot. I learned a lot in when it came time to raise my own kids. And there are a lot of things that I still am learning. A lot of things I wouldn't have done raising my kids. First of all, they wouldn't have got a cell phone as early as they did. I spent a lot of time checking behind, just because I knew what was out there. I knew the ease of access. But I feel like, going back to my time being raised, there was a lot that was expected of me. If you can remember, let me jump on this real quick. I may have been, and if I'm remembering correctly, I believe it was, May in it, in our whole neighborhood. And we had a big, huge neighborhood. Copeland, if y'all don't know where Copeland is, Copeland Settlement, that's out on the northeast side of Gainesville, out past the airport. Yeah, if you know, you know. But anyway, I was the only male in a house with no other male. Everybody else had brothers. Everybody else had a brother in the house. So there was chores that were shared. There were things that was able to be
I
broken up.
never thought about that.
Think about everybody we grew up with. I won't call names on the show, but you think about everybody that we grew up with. Everybody had a brother. So my dad didn't see it as there were other chores that were broken up over 4 or 5 people. This gonna get done, and it needs to be
I
done by
never
this
thought about
time.
that. I never thought about that.
All on me. I'm grateful for it because I know how to do so much because of that upbringing. I'm grateful for it, and I think every parent, don't overdo it. But your children need to learn how to work with their hands. We promote school, we promote college, we promote education, but they need to learn how to make their hands a viable resource. Know how to do things for yourself, for others. There's so many things that I learned because of that, and I'm grateful. But I feel like, you know, it wasn't equal, but I'm grateful. If I can say it in that way, it wasn't equal, but I'm grateful. You know, I learned a ton, but I was struggling, man.
Oh, I remember coming to your house wanting to play, and you working in the yard, and it's like,
yeah,
you want to play?
Yeah,
going out there and
I was struggling, dude. You know, it wasn't just cutting the yard. It was picking up all the pine cones out the yard before you cut the yard.
Yeah,
it was raking up all the straw before you cut the yard, and then you cut the yard with a push mower over an acre. Hey, I'm grateful for it. I love my folks, but you know what? My dad, he ain't too tech savvy, so he may not see this. But man, my dad had a ride mower, man. I was out there with a push mower. Pop, you ain't right, man. I love you, but you ain't right.
Yeah. I hate for my friends to come to my house because my dad would be like, help them out in the yard. He'd be like, I hate it. I hate it for my friends to come over because he'd be like, going out there and help him do whatever. And I'm like, because just don't come. Don't worry about it. Let me finish my stuff first. So that was embarrassing.
I remember rigging one whole side of the yard one time because we wanted to go to the mall. I remember that. Yeah, you was gonna get put to work. I also remember the flip side of that. I remember people coming and look through the bushes and see me working and run back home
because they knew about Uncle Jay.
They didn't want no part of it.
That's
but
right.
It was a good upbringing. It was a good upbringing. So yeah. Then versus now.
Benefits now. That's right. I mean, back then, of course, we didn't think about it, and my dad always told me, "You're gonna see, you'll see," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna see whatever." But then you get older and you understand, and then you look back and it's like, man, you wish there was some of that here, but you know, it's.
They knew what they were talking about.
They did. They did. They knew what they were talking about because they've been through it and they understood. And I know our parents probably went through much more than we. Of course they did because times were harder and times were harder for their parents. And things were we say they were hard, but they weren't really hard. We learned some lessons and they taught us some things. But man, the drop off from us to crazy. And again, technology or whatever, but it all falls on not sticking to our guns and not sticking to what you need to do this. I'm gonna make sure you do this because the parents are doing this. They're doing this. They're doing this. They're doing this. And
what I would say to parents, whether you're a brand new parent with children, babies, I tell one of my daughters only has one child. So she's a new mother. My 2 older daughters, they have more than one child. So a lot of them got the same lessons, but let them fall. Let them experience it. Don't try to save them from everything. If you understand, children will respond based on your response. A
Yeah.
lot of times they are not even hurt until they see you. Oh no,
That's right. That's
no
right.
pain. They develop pain based off of our
That's
reactions.
right.
And that
That's right.
goes all the way through their life, how we respond. The last show I was saying that my dad always told me to stay calm. Stay calm. Never get to a point where your brain cannot slow itself down and
Yep.
think through the situation. Because
Right.
a man under control is always going to have the benefit over a man that's not in control. So
Absolutely.
I would challenge parents to be a little more involved. Be a little more involved. I said earlier, inspect what you expect.
Mhm.
Inspect, follow behind these kids, man. We got to follow behind these kids. We got to make sure that what they're learning off of these learning came from in the home or in the neighborhood. Now they're learning from everywhere, on
Yep.
TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. They're learning from everywhere. They're learning how to be even more devious than we're already born. We're already born
That's
into
right.
sin. So we already
That's right.
have the capacity. We
Yep.
already have the capacity to do wrong. A child hasn't been taught to lie, will just lie
That's right.
because they know from your tone that they just did something that they weren't supposed to do.
Yep.
Did you just grab that? No, ma'am. Don't know how to lie, but
Yeah.
because of how you approach them, they realize I shouldn't have been doing whatever it was I was doing.
Yep.
So pay closer attention. Don't give in to the pressure of doing what your kids' parents are doing for them.
That's right. That is exactly right. And to add to that,
Stay the course.
yep, stay the course and get them out with you. Get them out of the house. We went to church and we still go to church because we grew up. Of course,
Right.
now I'm learning, and I'll be honest. When I was in church younger, I was just there to see my friends and do whatever. But now that I've gotten older, because I was raised in the church, I've started studying the Bible and listening to other people and learning about things in the Bible. And it's like, well, why is this? Well, I grew up with this, and so what I've started doing is going a lot slower. And you heard the stories growing up, the Bible story, but there's so much more into it that we can learn from it. And a lot of our discipline, the way we were raised, came from the church, came from God.
Yeah.
I mean, he put it in the Bible. Our parents learned it, and they believed, they had faith, and so they taught it to us. And so we need to teach it to them, and we need to bring the kids out of the house, go places with them, go to church, send them
In time.
that time. That's right. Spend that
In
time.
time.
Spend time because that time is important. That time is important. I'm sure my daughters I probably got on their nerves because we was always doing stuff. But now that they're older and they see that their friends who didn't spend, now they see,
Right.
just like our parents told us, now they're seeing that, oh, I don't want to go with you guys. Well, you're going and
Yeah.
you're gonna go and do this and so
Yeah.
on and so forth. So it is important that we spend the time and we do all those things because time is what they remember. A video game is not something that they have 10 video games that come out a year or more, however many they have, but they won't remember those things. They'll remember that time that you were in the mall or you were at the park and you fell and you spilled the drink and everybody laughed and then you guys had or whatever. They remember those things, and so that experiences is what they remember. Time is what they remember, but you have to be there. You have to not with your phones. Everybody go to a picnic and doing this, but go
Right.
actually go ball. Actually talk to them about what's going on. So those
You'll,
are the
ne-
things.
you'll never get it back.
Nope.
Time is gone. Once it's gone, it's gone. You
Yep.
never get it back.
Yep.
So spend as much time. I encourage any parent, whether we're talking about, again, kids or grandkids, spend as much quality time. There's a saying that if you spoil your child, your grandchildren.
Yep.
But if you raise your child,
Yep.
they will raise your grandchildren.
That's right.
And
That's
you
exactly
want to make sure that you're setting them up. You got to be the best example that you can be. Spend time. That ain't just going, people want to go and I want my child to experience this. I want my child to experience that. I want my child to experience this. Like we did all the Disney World stuff, but the times that I remember was the personal interactions.
That's right.
The personal interactions. Another thing that I say to parents and grandparents, let parents parent. Advise them, not unsolicited advice. Advise them, let them make the mistakes. But grandparents, stop raising your grandkids. I don't remember one gift, not a monetary gift from my grandparents. But what is way more valuable is the knowledge, the wisdom, and the love that I received. Those are the things that I remember because those are the things that stuck. So they went way further than somebody buying me an Xbox, or somebody buying me a pair of J's, Jordans, they're saying J's and all that now. But grandparents, know your role, stay in your place. Love, shed knowledge, wisdom, and advise only when asked. Don't tell them what you would do when they ask you nothing. Don't back off. Back off and know your place as a grandparent. Parents, do better. Do better. Spend time with your kids. Get off of the phone. Get off of the couch. Stop being lazy. I know it's hot. I know it gets cold. Take the kids out. Do something with them. Go spend some time with them. Everybody in the living room. It's 5 people in the living room and 5 people on phones.
That's right. And you don't have money because time is free. Time is free. That don't give me the excuse we can't afford to go and do whatever. That's a lie.
And let them be a kid. They have 17 years of being a child. Slow it down. Quit putting makeup on these kids. Quit putting things and saggy pants on these boys. Let them be children. Show them the proper way to be. It's enough out there in the world that they're going to learn wrong. It's enough out there in the world. We got to be the place where they learn what's right, because that's what they're going to pull from when they get older. They're going to pull from what was poured into them, what they were taught, what they saw. We're going to see enough foolishness, man. We got to do better, especially our people. Our people.
And I'm gonna add one more thing. I understand that we all go through things. You might go through something where you have to move back in with your parents because you're going through something or whatever. But when you are in your mid-20s and you're working and you're whatever, and you have no reason to be at your parents' house, get out. But that's a result of that parenting too, because you didn't teach them anything and you didn't teach them to go out there. You're going to fail. You're going to do these things. And that's why you have 27, 28, 30, 35. They're still sitting in your house working, have a job. They're doing all these things, but they're still up under your roof and you're treating them like a child. Kick them out. I'm sorry.
While you're there, if they have to be there, shame on an adult child that a parent has to ask them to clean up. Shame on an adult child that a parent has to say you need to pay for something. If you're home, something needs to be done. I ain't saying rent. I ain't saying any of that, but it's time out for parents to stop allowing freeloaders just be in existence, because that is going to turn on to somebody else.
That's right.
So make them responsible for something. If you're going to be home, pay the cable bill, pay the light bill, pay something. I shouldn't have to come to you. I don't care about you giving me anything. Pay something. Have that sense of responsibility. Do something that can benefit the home.
That's right.
Take the garbage out.
Do something. Be an asset. Be an asset. Okay, I'm sorry, Cuz. We have. I'm sorry, you got one thing, Cuz?
No, we're good.
We're good. Okay, so as everybody knows, this particular discussion has been recorded. Casey and I are been discussing. I don't know if we want to do it next week or the week after that, where we're going to go live, where we'll have real interactions, live interaction with everyone. But we just wanted to make sure that we kind of have things solid before we go live. We're still going to make mistakes. We're still going to do things and so on and so forth. But we just wanted to make sure that we were good. And so we are thinking maybe next week we're going to go live so we can have real interaction with you guys. We love you guys, and we appreciate everyone that has participated and look at the video. And please, any comments and concerns, we have our email address at the bottom there. And so please, if you have any questions that you guys want us to discuss, please send it to our email address, and we will be sure to bring it up. Now, if there's a lot of the same, then we'll just merge it into one discussion, and we'll kind of go from there. But we're ready to go, cuz if there's anything else you wanted to say before we end, you just hit it.
Well, for those with bad eyes, it's let's talk KC Mike at gmail.com. For those with bad eyes, those who cannot see it, let's talk KC Mike at gmail.com. No spaces, no dots. Let's talk KC Mike at gmail.com. And we told you all last time, we've been talking about this for a while. I think we probably started the ball rolling on this how many years ago?
About 2 years ago.
Before we go, I'm gonna show them before we go how long we've been planning this.
That's a little more than 2 years, but yeah,
and we still tight.
That's right. Real true friends. We could put each other away if we wanted to, but that's what love do. We love you guys, and we can't wait to see you next week. You guys take care. Love you. Love you, cuz.
Love you guys. All right.
Peace out.